Welcome to my presentation. In this presentation, let us try to find the angle between two vectors. Let us say the two vectors given to us are as follows. Vector u is cosine pi over 6, comma, sine pi over 6, like that. And vector v is given to us as cosine 3 pi over 4 and then sine 3 pi over 4. So we have some trigonometric measures in here. It doesn't matter. We can still find the angle between these two vectors. We want to find the theta between the theta or the angle between these two vectors. The way to do that is as follows. Step number 1. We know that the measure of the angle between two vectors is given to us as cosine theta is equal to vector u dot vector v. It's a dot product between vector u and vector v divided by the magnitude of vector u times the magnitude of vector v. So that is the formula. We will use that formula to be able to find the angle between these two vectors. In step number 2, let us substitute, let us put in the values of the components of these vectors. Cosine theta is equal to, in the numerator we have vector u, the components of those are cosine pi over 6 and then sine pi over 6, isn't it? And then dot, and then the components of vector v are cosine 3 pi over 4, comma, sine 3 pi over 4. That is the numerator part. And in the denominator, we want to write this one out as follows. The magnitude of vector u is going to be the square root of cosine pi over 6, the whole squared. We can write that as cosine squared pi over 6, like that. Let me write it this way. So for those of us who are doing this for the first time, you will see how this is done. So cosine pi over 6, this whole thing raised to the power of 2, plus sine pi over 6, this whole thing raised to the power of 2, and then times, this is times cosine 3 pi over 4, this whole thing is raised to the power of 2, plus sine 3 pi over 4, this whole thing is raised to the power of 2, and all of this is under the radical symbol, like that. Okay. Now, from trigonometry we know some fundamental truths, and the fundamental truths are as follows. I will write that as step number 3. Okay. So, we know that cosine squared a plus sine squared a is going to be equal to 1. We also know that cosine a times cosine b plus sine a times sine b is equal to, we can combine them as cosine a minus b. So we will use these formulas to simplify what we have in here. So when we simplify this, it is going to be cosine theta is equal to cosine theta. Let me write it again. Cosine theta is equal to, the numerator part, we're going to write this one out as follows. We're going to write this one as cosine pi over 6 times cosine 3 pi over 4. We are multiplying the first component of the first vector times the first component of the second vector. right, plus sine pi over 6 times sine 3 pi over 4. And in the denominator, we have cosine pi over 6, the whole squared can be written out as cosine squared pi over 6 plus sine squared pi over 6. That is one part. And the second part here, this is under the radical symbol. And in the second part here, we have is cosine squared 3 pi over 4 plus sine squared 3 pi over 4, and all of this is under the radical symbol like that. Now we can simplify this some more. The way to do that is as follows. We have seen that in a formula here, that this formula here, cosine A cosine B plus sine A sine B can be reduced to cosine A minus B. Okay, so the numerator looks very similar to that, so therefore we're going to use that and simplify it. Cosine theta is going to be equal to, the numerator part we can write as cosine pi over 6 minus 3 pi over 4. A minus B, cosine A minus B, like that, divided by cosine squared pi over 6 plus sine squared pi over 6. That represents this formula, isn't it? Cosine squared A plus sine squared A is equal to 1. Therefore, we can write that as square root of 1 times cosine squared 3 pi over 4 plus sine squared 3 pi over 4. That also comes down as square root of negative 1. It is in the form cosine squared A plus sine squared A, and therefore that is going to be equal to 1. Therefore, we can simplify this some more, and when we simplify this is going to come out as follows. The numerator is going to be cosine pi over 6 minus 3 pi over 4. When we simplify these fractions, it is going to come out as negative 7 pi over 12 divided by square root of 1 times square root of 1. That is going to be equal to 1. So therefore this is what we have now. We have cosine theta is equal to cosine negative 7 pi over 12. Therefore we want to find the value of theta, and that is going to be equal to cosine inverse of cosine negative 7 pi over 12, isn't it? Therefore when you use your scientific calculator, you will see the value. When you enter this in your calculator, you will see the value of this is going to be equal to 1.836 degrees. 1.836 degrees. You can also find the value in terms of radians as well. Okay, so in terms of radians, this value is also going to be equal to 1.832 radians. 1.83, there is a 2 here, 26 degrees, or 1.8326 radians. So we were able to find the measure between two vectors which are in terms of trigonometric functions, and then we are able to find the measure of the angle in terms of degrees and in terms of radians. So this is the way we can use the vectors to find the measure between those two vectors. In my next presentation, we shall look at some more examples to see how we can find the measure of the angle between two vectors.